And we are live. Welcome everyone to the Feel Inspired podcast. My name is Amit Sodha. This is episode 56 with the lovely Jennifer Hurvitz. Am I saying that right, by the
You
way?
are saying it exactly right. Thank you.
Yes. We were originally going to do this last week and I had to push back to this week, but we're here today as well. We're going to talk about all things dating, doing dating right.
I
And
love
your
it.
brand is, of course, doing relationships right. And we're going to talk as well about tips to kind of get your online dating game up to scratch. And I know everyone's feeling it at the moment. And I saw an interesting TikTok the other day, and it was about a guy who, despite being a very good-looking guy, 6'4", six-pack, he was talking about how few matches he actually got as well. I'm going to duet this video in a probably today,
Oh,
actually.
good. I can't wait.
Yeah, and he was just talking about this though as well, like his experience, and that's the thing as well. A lot of people think, oh, it's just me. It's because of me. It's because of the way I look. It's because of
No,
this, because of that. No, actually, it's everyone. But you
it's
have
hard.
to still put in the grunt work to make things happen.
Agree.
But anyway, we're going to be talking all about that and more, and I'll let Jen introduce herself
Awesome.
in just a minute. But for anyone who's just joining us for the first time, this is the Feel Inspired podcast. By the way, Jen is also a podcaster. She's just hit 200,000 downloads. I'm not quite there yet, but getting there slowly but surely. So all of her details will be included at the end as well. If you want to reach out to her, if you want to speak to her, or just drop her a message on Instagram or whatever, or just maybe even hit on her. I don't know. Are you married? Are you single? I'm not even sure.
I
I
have
have
a
no idea.
boyfriend.
Yeah, it's a boyfriend. So
5
no
years.
hitting
5
on her,
years.
but just to ask the important questions and all of the juicy stuff. Without further ado, let's get stuck right in. So first off, welcome Jen to the
Thank
Feel
you.
Inspired
Yay.
podcast. It's the first
So
time I've
good to
had
be
you on.
here. I'm so excited.
And we met on Clubhouse, sort of like 2021. In fact, it was 2021, wasn't it? Really? So I think when I jumped on, and we all had loads of shoot your shot rooms and dating rooms, and so much fun there. So, I guess tell us first and foremost, just tell us a little bit about you, how you got into the dating field,
Oh boy.
the events that led up your journey to doing this, the fact that you now have a boyfriend as well, or I don't know.
We met
has it
on
been a long
Match.
time?
We met on Match. So
Oh,
everybody
wow.
knows it
So-
works. It does work. It works.
Well, there we go. You see, you're the living proof, right? The embodiment of what it means to be an online coach going through this as well. So tell us your story anyway. How did you get into this line of work?
Well, this is
and
how
did
it
you
started.
get inspired?
I'll give you the fast version. The fast version. So I tell everybody I made a career out of my disastrous divorce, but I'd like to say it was disastrous, but it wasn't so bad. So you know what? It's okay. I tell people I'm happily divorced and I'm in a happy divorce. So I did, my first book is called One Happy Divorce, Hold the Bullshit. My second book is called Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, A Divorce Coach's Guide to Staying Married. And excuse me, I'm so sorry. And then I wrote a screenplay. I have a blog, a podcast, and now a coaching practice. So there you go. That's what I do. And I love it. I love everything I do. And my podcast is my most fun. I love it. I'm exhausted, but as you know, helping people is exciting and helping people date is great. And, I like what I do. So
how long ago did that happen that this journey started as well for you?
let's see,
And what were you doing before? Was it something completely out of the ordinary?
Absolutely, completely different. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom for my kids are now going to college, both of them. Next year, they'll both be gone. And I was a DJ for 15 years, a DJ and a dance instructor.
Wow.
So I gave it all up to have children. And then, of course, when I got divorced, I was like, oh, crap, now what?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, I think I'll write a blog. So I started a blog and then I had no idea people were going to ever read it. And then one thing led to another. A producer found my blog and started reading it. And they called me out to LA and said, do you write anything? I'm like, no, not really. And they're like, how about a screenplay? I'm like, sure, why not? So I wrote a TV pilot, shopped it around for about 4 years and still shopping. And here we are. So
nice.
One day, you never know. You might see it on television, but I don't know.
Wow, but it's and obviously even from DJing as well, it's quite a kind of a pivotal shift. It's quite a monumental shift.
Yeah.
So, how did you find it initially, and what kind of journey did you go on to learn about all this stuff as well? Was it just your own experience, or did you join particular courses?
I did. I took courses and research. Well, I went to Michigan State University, and I have a degree in family and child ecology and adolescent development. So it's kind of like marriage and family and that kind of good stuff. So I did actually really love talking about families and relationships and love and sex and all that good stuff. So I kind of started there and then kind of came full circle. But my divorce was interesting because, I think had I known then when I was going through my divorce, everything I know now, we might not have gotten divorced. It's very interesting. So I think that once you know the way to communicate and the skills and all that good stuff that I use with my coaching clients now, I call him my husband. My husband and I don't call him my ex. My husband and I were like best friends. So,
Yeah.
we had to go through it to figure it all out. But if I could get together a bunch of engaged people or young adults that are like just starting out or dating and get them all together in a room and say, look, here's what you need to know. Set your expectations this way. I think that we would really be better off. I don't think I had the right tools going into my marriage.
Interesting. Well, they say the hindsight is 2020, right?
Exactly.
So you just never know, though. Right?
I never know.
Yeah.
I never know. Right. So,
but I've always thought that as well. Obviously, not that I want to be single right now, but
No.
I just thought if I was not together with my wife, like how I would handle dating now. Because when I started, when we met, sorry, I beg your pardon, dating apps were out. We were both on dating apps, swipe apps as well. So we have some idea, but obviously they've progressed a bit since then as well. Lots of new features and stuff as well. So I thought, how would I cope now if I was out there? How would people perceive me? Would they want to date me? I have no idea, right? But one thing I do know for certain is that I would still aim to be happy being single. And that doesn't mean that I want to be single for the rest of my life.
Right.
But just enjoying the place I'm in and actually making the most of it.
Right. Because it makes such a difference. I tell my clients too, if you show up on a date and you're in a negative space, no one's going to want to date you.
Yeah.
You have to be positive. And I know that's hard because it's tough. Look, it's frustrating. Dating is frustrating, right? But if you're not positive about it and you show up as like a negative Nelly, you're like, oh, bitchy, no one's going to want to date you. Like positivity is confidence and positivity are sexy. Don't you think?
They are, right? They're the most, and I think that's the thing people don't realize. We always attribute it to physical attractiveness, physical attribute, but we are more sensitive to an abundant personality, someone who's oozing all the right stuff, than just how good looking they are. And it goes way beyond that. Sometimes you just see people, you're like, oh my God, they're just so enigmatic, right?
Yeah.
Just like you just want to be around them.
Yep.
Funny enough, enigmatic is one of those qualities. I think someone who's a little bit of a mystery, who knows how to create that air of mystery, who wants to create that playfulness where people want to get them know them more and things like that.
I think you told a story about your wife that I still remember that I loved about when you went bowling. Was it you?
No, but that was one of the couples that we matched up actually.
Oh.
Yeah, and they were out of the singles Facebook group that we have. They were they were the first couple to get married. Not necessarily to meet, but the first one to get married. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I just think that like sometimes you're right. People I know I remember something, but I remember people like everyone puts so much stock in like looks, right? And I just feel like being funny and witty and like that person, I don't know, you have that it factor, like someone has an it factor and it's just you're attracted to them, right? So you have so much better chance of getting that second or third date if you just show up happy. Really just be happy. Just like, if you're bad mouthing your ex or you're talking crap about your dating experience and you're saying, oh my God, I can't believe I'm on the apps again, oh this sucks, and doesn't dating suck and blah, no one wants to sit with you. No one wants that because they're on the apps too, right? So
and if you compare it to any other area of life as well, it's the same. Like if you were sitting there for an interview, would they hire you if you're bad mouthing your ex job? Would they hire you if you're just being, have this crap feeling about life? No, of course they're not, right?
No.
And so the same applies. You've got to find a way to pivot as much as possible, and not just artificially put a positive spin on things, but actually really find the joy in where you are, what you're doing, and the stuff that you are doing, and using it as a reason to try different things and go out there, meet different people, do all the things you've never done before, all of the above, and who knows what could happen as a result, right?
And I tell my clients too, if you're in a really, I shouldn't swear, if you're in a really crappy place,
you say is what
if you're in a shitty place, like you shouldn't date. Like take a step back, right? And do a little work on yourself. And when I say like do a little work, I mean like find your alone space and enjoy being alone and find out what makes you happy. Because you can't look at someone, I'm sure you've said this in every pocket, right? You can't look to another person to make you happy. You have to know what makes you happy yourself before you can expect someone else to like enjoy your company. So if you're not in a good space, please, for the love of everything, just don't date. Wait. There's no reason to even go out there, right? Take some time.
What did your current partner say when he found out this is your line of work? Like, how did that go down?
Well, it's funny. At the time, I was just starting. So I've been with him 5 years. I've been divorced for 8. Oh my God, has it been 9? I think it's been 9. And so I had been, and this is the point where I use my experiences. I think a lot was I learned from my mistakes, right? I think we all learn from our mistakes. And so we coach a little when we date a bunch of, narcissistic red flags, blah, 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 we know what not to do. Right. So, oh my God, I had a series of just like, boy, did I make mistakes. Like I jumped right into dating after my divorce and I thought, oh, I'm perfect. I'm fine. I don't need a break. Bullshit. I needed a big break. I needed to get my shit together. So, luckily I found my partner now, my boyfriend now, after I had done that, and then I did some work on myself and then I found him. I was just starting to write my books and I was just starting to get into the podcast stuff. So he's been on my podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. He's been on, and we've actually spoken about our relationship and we've talked about what we do wrong and our communication styles and our attachment styles. Like he's been he's pretty awesome to do what I make him do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not that kind of episode, No, I'm kidding.
I do, but it's interesting because when he comes on the show, I get really big numbers. I get lots of. So you should bring your wife on. People love.
That's something I've never done.
Oh, you should absolutely do it because you know what? Here's the thing: it's like authentic and real, and we don't bullshit around. Like people will send us like questions, and we answer them because it's real. Like we don't have a picture perfect relationship. We just don't. It's so it's interesting. Like we talk about everything. Yeah. So
what did he make of it though in general though as well? Was he expecting you to use some like mental Jedi mojo on him to win him over?
Yeah, I think everybody thinks that like, especially probably with you too, that coaches are like, we got it all under control. We can just, fix the world. But it's funny. What is the phrase? Shoemaker's kids go without shoes.
Yeah.
I feel like I can coach anybody, right? I'm the best dating coach. I can find you a man. I can find whatever. But for whatever reason, it takes two, right? It takes two. So like I can communicate all day long, but if he's not communicating if he's avoidant and I'm anxious or his love language is this and mine is, I still have to be able to work, with both. And he doesn't, I'm also like, he doesn't want me to coach him all day. Like I send him stuff. I'm like, look at this. And he's like, oh, not another one, Jennifer, please. So, it's interesting.
I love it. I love it. So let's do a little bit of dissecting then on the online dating experience.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, because I think that just like you are active on TikTok like I am as well. So you probably scroll through and see some of the videos of the gender wars that are going on right now and the way people perceive the demands of men, the demands of women, and yada yada yada. And it's a real kind of ugly fest right now.
I got some real pushback yesterday on one of my reels.
Oh, did you? What was the reel?
Gosh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you want me to?
No, please.
It was so funny because I don't get pushback on Instagram. People are real, like my following is real tight. I'm kind of new on TikTok. I know you're really big over there on TikTok. And I posted something about, I don't believe in playing games. I don't know how you coach. Do you believe in playing games? Like where you have to like count?
The way I describe it to people is like the words I use, the exact words. It's not about playing games. It's about learning to play the game.
Oh,
that's what I say to people.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So do you believe in like waiting a certain amount of time or waiting to text or waiting to have sex? Do you believe in all that?
No.
Okay. You're like, no. I kind of do, Jen.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain degree, yes, but not where it's artificially conflated. I must wait 24 hours, just because I should type of thing, right? Not like that.
Okay.
Just even if it's just waiting 5 minutes, just to give yourself that.
Yeah, breathing
wait for a few minutes. Consider my response, and then I'll reply, type of thing.
Yes, without being impulsive.
And then understanding like that actually can be quite attractive because you're not replying straight away. You're not answering the questions too directly straight away, giving them everything they want on a plate. Suddenly, there's no mystery left. There's no excitement left. Everything's vanished within the first date or few hours or whatever, right? So I think that is that element of learning to play the game.
Well, I have clients that do the double texting and they're always they're immediately texting, they're double texting and they're writing up. I'm like, I have like rule. I have my like, look, you need to put that phone in the other room, girl, and sit on it. I don't care what you have to, the anxious attachment. So
yes, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm a firm believer also in like. So yesterday I wrote that. I also this is another big thing. Your viewers are gonna go, oh, she's crazy. I don't believe in juggling.
Yeah.
So I don't like when I'm coaching, I'm like, look, it's one person at a time. And so everyone's like, oh my God, that's crazy. You should be able to date 50 people. And I'm like, oh God, no. So that was a big pushback yesterday. So but it was the guys. A lot of the guys are like, no, you should be able to spin plates and juggle and bench. And I'm like, oh, here we go. That was fun. I'm like, oh no.
That's interesting, actually, though, that you say that, because I actually disagree slightly.
Yeah.
This is good.
I'm
So I'd
sure.
love to. What's your chain of thought on this? What's your thought process on this? Why do you say
So
everyone?
this is my
And this is what I'll say as well,
I love
that
it.
I believe both,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why it can also go the other way. So I'll let you
Yes.
answer first, and I'll give you my idea on that.
So this is my whole philosophy, and it's actually what worked with my partner now, but and how I coach, and it works for me, so I'm sticking to it. But basically, I do feel strongly that if you are benching, or you have someone on the back burner, or you're dating multiple people, that, and I'm not saying you have to marry this person, but you're incapable of giving your full attention to one person at it. You can't do it. It's impossible to give that person a chance while you're dating other people, to give the one person at a time. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you're always wondering if that next person is bigger or better, like the bigger, better deal, right? So if you don't concentrate, so let me give you an example. Okay. You meet someone on Match, like my boyfriend, for example. I met him on Match. We talked, we texted, we did our thing. We went on our first date. It was great. We had a good time. We went on our second date. It was really good. We were still dating. We both kept our apps open. We were still whatever. On the third date, he looked at me and he said, I'm going off my apps. You know what? And let's see what I'm interested in just seeing what happens here. And I was like, oh my God, what do you mean? Like, I was like, kind of like, but it was kind of sexy. It was kind of like he wanted me, like he was kind of interested in me. It was kind of like, wow, like someone's actually, so he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, let's just see where this goes. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And we just went off our apps and we dated each other. We didn't say I want to get married in 5 months. We didn't say I want to have 3 kids. We didn't say I want to see what happens next Christmas. We just dated for now. We dated in the moment, and we just kept dating. And let's say it didn't work in 3 weeks, we would have broken up. We would have gotten back on our apps and would have done our thing. We've gone our merry way, right? So, but we gave our attention to each other, and we didn't date other people. Does that make sense? Because I feel like if you continue to date other people while you're dating one person, right? There's no way that you'll ever give that person that you're dating a fair shot. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. So, because I like everything you just said, I agree with you, because that's actually very similar to how it happened with me and my wife. But so this is how I phrase it, right? So I say to people, and it's an arbitrary number, but I say, if you're under 35, you know what, you've got time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I'm talking about dating after divorce.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's different. But also there's another side to this as well, that where I say to people, like when you're 35, if you want to spend time getting to know someone, and you have got that time on your side, great. Now I'm 45 now. I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to ask
50.
how old you are.
I'm just about turning 50 this year. I'm turning 50. Oh my gosh.
We're not that far off, right? Yeah. But my sister passed away when she was 38. She was going to be 39 a week later. No, at all. When I turned, I was 31 at the time, and when I turned 38, 39, like I was like, holy crap, you know what I mean? You realize that just how short life is.
Yes.
So when I was dating at that point, and even when I met my wife, I was speaking to multiple women. It wasn't that I was trying to cheat on any of them or anything, but I was just speaking to them, and the same sort of thing happened. We got to a point where we were just like, okay, cool. We're invested in each other. Let's do it. And we both did the same thing, came off all the apps and then done. So in that respect, but if you're committed to someone and then you're still seeing other people, I think obviously that's a different story.
Yeah, different.
But if you're just getting to know someone and there's no exclusiveness so far, and that there is that maturity where you've just said, right, we're just dating, getting to know each other. In fact, if you're dating other people, more power to you as well, kind of thing. I think that's some of the honesty that's missing from people. Just say it. You don't have to hide this
Absolutely.
kind of stuff.
I'm with you. I feel like if you sit down at the table and you're both like, look, that's a problem that causes anxiety. A lot of people have have anxiety in dating because people are not honest up front. Yeah. If you said that to me, look, I'm going to date other people and blah, blah, blah. But then what happens is that how long one person dates other people is never the same amount of time as the other person wants to date other people. So you have, I'm going to date other people for 3 months, and he's going to date other people for 6 months. Do you see what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
6 weeks or 3 weeks. And then you have another conversation. Let's say it's 6 weeks in, right? And I say, I'm done dating other people. And he says, well, I'm not. And then I've invested 3 months of my time with this person who's been dating other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And that's how it was for my wife, because actually she's the one who said to me, I'm not, and I'm ready. And she was like, so where are you on this now?
Exactly.
And she didn't ask it that way. I'm just kind
well,
of
of course not, but she's smart because she wasn't going to wait any more time.
Tell me right now. But she was kind of like, look, I know where I stand, right?
That's exactly right. I words.
And if you want to go carry on dating, good luck.
Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah, exactly. If not, though, if you're ready for me, let's do it. Yeah. And that's what led to that happening. And that's something I talk about a lot, that story, because for me, that's that's a really empowered thing to say. For her to say that,
I agree, 100%.
For whatever better phrase, talk about balls, right? And that's one of the things that attracted me to her.
Well, of course, because she used I phrases. So I tell people to use, instead of what are you looking for in a relationship? What do you want in a relationship? Say, I'm looking for, I want, I need, I. So you're not putting it, you're taking the onus. You see what I'm saying? It's sexy, it's hot, it's whatever. And it's true. It takes balls, it takes chutzpah, moxie for a woman to say, it's not that she's needy, that she's crazy, that she's cuckoo, that she wants blah, blah, blah. No, she knows what she wants, and she's not going to waste her time with a man who doesn't want it, right? So I think it's really important that when you do sit down, on date number 5, let's say date number 3, that you both come to the table and say, look, here's what I want. And if it's not the same end game, that you cut it off. There's no reason to waste anybody's time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So.
And, on that note as well, like you said, this idea of kind of putting it out there, and what my wife did, I think not a lot of people do. And I think that the other thing you mentioned as well, sorry, I'm just getting my chain of thought right before you said, but that thing you said about saying what I want, which is if you're someone who's generally always in the passenger seat historically, and you are using those phrases like, what do you want? What do you see? Where do you see us going? Or what, where do you think we are right now? You're putting obviously the power with the other person constantly. And this is where you as an individual do need to redress that balance and say, there are got to be occasions where you actually say what you want as well, in addition to that, so that there is balance to that equation. And a lot of people don't do that, right?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I feel like if everyone could be more authentic and vulnerable, because when you're vulnerable and you share kindly what you're looking for in a relationship, it opens the door to be vulnerable on the other side, right?
Yeah.
No one wants to share how they feel. Everyone's like, well, I don't want to say it till he says it. Or I don't want to say what I want until he said, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like in high school, right? But it's hard. It's hard to say what you're looking for because you don't want to look needy as a woman. Women are always, people say, oh, well, she's so needy. She needs a man. Well, that's not the case. She wants a long-term relationship. And that's not something to feel badly about, if you want. But look, there are people who just want casual sex. Own that. Sit down at the table, and when you want to say what you want, say, I'm just looking for casual sex. And if the person across the table from you says, me too, then it's a win.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And there's a lady I had or that I spoke to recently, and she's created a dating app where you can actually put the person on the app in one of 3 categories: friend, possible partner, or a thing.
I think that's great.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a beautiful idea. I love it. Absolutely love it. And at least then there's no game playing. There's no guessing. None of that.
What app is that? Are you allowed to say?
But yeah, of course, it's Sparkle's Dating. The lady.
Yes. She's coming on my podcast next season.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So I love that idea when she told me it. And I think that is a great way to go. It's a great app to use in that respect. That if you're more open to more than just one thing, but the ideal is that you want to meet someone who's a long-term partner. But if you're happy to have some fun along the way, great, more power to you.
Absolutely.
This is the thing as well, because people don't really know what they want, or they don't know how to articulate it. This is why they end up quite lost, because they're thinking, do I do this? Do I not do this? Is this wrong? Their minds just churn away like crazy.
Absolutely.
Whereas I felt like when I got to that point when I was dating, I knew exactly what I wanted, and I just went after it, and that was it. And if there was, if there happened to be a woman, I just thought, look, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm not interested in you in a long-term relationship, but if you fancy having some fun, love, let's go for it. But it would, and sometimes the answer was yes, sometimes the answer was no. But I didn't get offended by it. I just thought, whatever happens.
But here's a question for you. Okay, so let's say I'm going to ask you. So let's say that you say that she says she's wants to just have. Do you think that women? I have a hard time believing that women do not catch feelings. Because I feel like every client that I have this like, oh no, I just wanted to have friends with benefits. And I just wanted, they come to me a month later, they're like, I really like him. I'm like, I told you, I feel like we catch feelings so quickly. I don't know.
I agree. I think like, it does. But I think there are definitely a very small portion of women who are just like, nope.
Yeah,
they're quite stoic.
I was too. I was like, I just want sex.
They are quite, and they're not afraid to show it. They always show it publicly, but when they find someone that they're ready to tell that to, they'll do it, and they're not bothered by it. Then they'll move on to the next one and stuff. And so they're fine with that. So you're right, though. There are, and then there's the other side as well. But again, it's about being honest with yourself. Are you someone who genuinely is going to catch emotions? If you have a history of that, it's the only way to know, really. Then you can say it as much as you want.
Exactly. Well, that's why I tell my clients too, like, you should know. People always ask me like, well, when should I start dating after divorce, or when's a good time to date after a breakup, or when? It's not as much about the when as it is the why, right? Like, why are you dating? Why are you looking for a long-term partner? Are you looking for, just casual sex? What's your why? If you know your why, I think that's way more important than your when. If that makes sense at all. And so when you're writing your bio too, like, I love to write online dating profile bios. That's my favorite thing. Like we said before, like, you can't really write in your bio, I just want to get laid. I mean, you could, but like, and that's, it's hard because you have to do it kind of like a sneaky kind of way.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that with sprinkles, is it sprinkles?
Sparkles,
whatever.
That's a good one as well. I think I'll take that name.
Sprinkles, sparkles, whatever it is, that you can put exactly what you're looking for. Because, sorry, I made you laugh. Because then you don't have to worry about, I don't have to worry about writing in there like, oh, I don't know, long doesn't, whatever. So
it's so true. So actually, speaking of profiles, then what are some of the things that you come across that which people do, which you kind of like, if you yourself saw it on a dating profile, you'd be like, no, thanks. But and then what do you tell people to put on their profile instead? How to sell themselves? How do they get the maximum amount of attention?
Wait a minute. Are you in London?
Yes.
Okay. So you have something in London that I'm so jealous of, that your listeners, have you seen Hey Saturday?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. You have a company that is the most awesome. She was Saskia Nelson.
Okay, now this is starting to ring a bell a little bit, right?
Okay.
So tell me.
Okay, it's called Hey Saturday. She is a photographer. She's the first of her kind anywhere in the world. She just opened in Austin, LA, and New York. And I might fly to New York to get it done just to see, because I love her so much. She was just on my podcast. It's a photo. How do I say it? She does like online dating photos, but she tells a story.
I love it. I'm just on the website now.
God. How amazing is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Loving the pictures.
You have to have her on a live, because she talks about like how your online dating profile should tell a story with the pictures.
Yes.
And oh my God, it is just like, I don't know why it's like, it's looking at art. But meanwhile, the pictures look like good. They look like real. They don't look like they're posed, and they don't look like, they're just beautiful. Right?
I love it.
Oh my God, I love it. And it's like, you're doing yoga, and then you're like drinking a beer with a friend, and then you're like at the, playing chess or whatever you're doing. Like, she goes through your weekend with you, and she'll follow you through like a weekend. Like if you play golf, or if you, whatever. And so your profile, like, it looks, oh my God, it's just incredible. And it's not expensive.
I actually see a few friends in there as well. I see James, a fellow dating coach friend. James.
No, you don't really? Oh my gosh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
And I see a few other faces as well, just like when it's skimming through them. Yeah, that I recognize the faces. So
that's awesome.
It's such a small world, isn't it?
That's awesome. It's such, oh my God, such a small world, because I had her in my pockets, and I'm like, oh my God, Saskia, I wish you were here. And we're laughing so hard. And I think that's the point. Like, I feel like if everyone made online dating more fun. Yes. If we just had more fun, like, I feel like if I saw a profile that had those pictures on it, I would want to look at it. Yes, definitely. Like, I don't want to. Such a difference, right? Yes. Like, I don't want to look at a profile with like, if I see one more picture, oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys, of a guy holding a fish, or a guy, I mean, we always say this, or like, in a bathroom selfie, or a picture of a sunset. Yeah. Why do I want to see a picture of a sunset? I don't. I mean, come on. Or the girls in groups with like 10 of their friends. What is that? Why? Yeah. Then the guys are looking at the 10 other friends and like, oh, let me find who that girl is.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. Yeah. Oh, she's quite nice as well. Yeah. Then they're just getting to know you, to know the friend. That's what it is. Jeez.
That is so true. But you know what I tell my clients too is that like when you're going on a date, and I don't call them dates, I call them meets, because I want them to lower their expectations. I don't want them to get so invested in the first couple meets. So I say 20 minutes, don't spend too long, don't get all dressed up and put yourself together and just go for coffee or a drink and make it quick.
Yeah. And it's, and like you said, right? And I have a little saying for that as well. If you treat your date like a mate, then you're more likely to kind of, create that, just that nice interaction, without the pressure. Yeah. I'll put that one of my quotes tomorrow.
Yes, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I could steal that, but give you credit. But you know what's so funny? I think we would be great for, don't you think I think we're great first daters. We'd be great, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
I know. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, I loved dating. I loved it.
Me too. But I had such an awesome time dating.
But that was my problem, is that like my first date, second dates were always so good. And then I was like, oh, he's a great guy. No, he wasn't. I just was a really good dater.
I love that.
I thought everyone was fantastic. But it's so funny because I say all the time, I'm like, if you go on a date with someone and it's not your person, right? Maybe he has or she has a person to fix you up with. Or maybe that person that you're meeting is great for business. Or maybe they know someone or they have a family member. So like, be positive. You never know.
It's so true, right? And by the way, let's go back to the subject as well.
Sure.
So pictures, profile, of course.
Yep.
Massive boon to you if you can get some decent pictures done. And even if you're not in that place where you can, for whatever reason, but everyone can.
Yeah.
But just taking a selfie, not as if it's a selfie. I mean, come on, like, just without your arm in the shot.
My gosh, I can give you some selfie pointers. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go. Please.
People are listening.
That.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on your iPhone, if you use a portrait mode, turn it away from you, use the timer, but then in the right-hand corner at the top, it has to say F is in Frank 3.5.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm telling you, photographers are mad at me right now, but they look like professional shots.
They do as well. I mean, obviously I'm always playing with my phone, my gadget, trying different things, even for TikTok, trying different angles, using cinematic modes, all the rest of it.
Oh my gosh.
And it just, it makes such a massive difference when that picture is just,
or find a friend, find a friend to do it. Like, or your kid, have kids, or just take,
or even just get a selfie stick, right?
Yes.
Just set the timer or put the little Bluetooth on. I mean, do you know this is one of my greatest tools that I own, though? Do you know what I mean?
Love
it. But it is, it costs you £20, right? And you can just be out somewhere and make it look like your friends are taking pictures of you. You just find the angles that work for you and done. Boom. You've got some great pictures.
It's not that hard.
It really isn't. It really isn't.
No, I don't know why people have such a, and I also really, don't leave things blank. People leave things blank on their profiles all the time. Like they're like, oh, I'm just going to skip that one. Don't skip it, because people actually they read it. They want to know all the information they possibly can. Yeah. And I also say pick 3 apps and do them full on. Like don't pick 12 and do them half-assed.
And that's what people think. Oh, if I'm on online dating, I've got to be on all the apps. No. Do 2 or 3 at most. And like you said, fully invest in those and see where they go. And you just don't know. And if one of those happens to be one that you just particularly not fond of, or you just haven't had great success with, great, switch that one off. Try a different one.
And there are so many.
Yeah.
Did you realize how many? I had no idea there were so many dating apps.
Yeah. By the way, I was just the pictures were just scrolling by, and I just saw someone else I know on there as well.
Did you?
She's actually a coaching client of mine as well.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
You never told me about this, that you were on there.
She's probably like, she wants to keep it in the down low because if everybody has them, but I mean, but it's so fun to look at. They're so fun. I actually am going to send my girlfriend. I bought it as a present for her, a divorce present. She got divorced, and I bought it for a present. And she's in New York.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's so good. And I like what you said as well, that it tells a story, which I think that, again, on dating profiles, most people actually never do. They're really factual. I do this. This is my job. this is what I do on the weekend, dad, and then literally that is it.
Oh,
So
no.
what, apart from picture, then what is it? Another face I recognize. I'm just glued to this now.
I want to go for it. I'll just talk. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. You carry on. You're the experienced podcast.
I'll just hang out. I think also, so I always start my, giving away all my hints here. I start the bio part of it with like a headline. So
Headlines
like
are the best.
The headline. So I love my favorites. Like, okay, in Charlotte, where I live in North Carolina, everybody's blonde. Everybody's blonde. There's no brunette. So if like I have a brunette client, I'll be like, if you're searching for a brunette in a sea of blondes or something like that, like something catchy or something, whatever. Cute headline. And then at the end, I always ask a question. I always end the profile with a question because people need a conversation starter, right? Instead of, hey, what's up? Hey, beautiful. What's happening? Like, really? Like, no one, so I'll ask like, do you want pepper? Are you a pepperoni or pineapple person on your pizza? Or do you have an Android or an iPhone or like something, like what's your favorite sport? Or, tell me something you did this week, whatever. So that if they want to write back, they can answer it.
Have you created any particular headline you're proud of for a client that you thought you kind of like,
oh my gosh, they're all fabulous. Let me think. I'm trying to think of a good one. Oh my God, what's a good one? I don't know if I'm trying to think when I don't. Oh my God, once I write them, they're like gone in my head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do.
Do you feel that way
all the
too?
time. Yeah, I do. And the first one that just when I asked you that question, even I hadn't got an answer ready. But I was just thinking of one where I was chatting to a client and he had a stutter. And obviously, the more I spoke to him, the more it came to the forefront that this was an issue for him. At first, like he was like, not a problem for me. But then as I delved in, I could tell that it was actually an issue. So I said, look, why don't you lead with that, but put it in a way that doesn't make it sound like you're trying to get the sympathy vote or anything else, but just put it in such a way that just say something along the lines of, I have the most, kind of like endearing stutter. And, I can't remember the words. That's completely gone in my head, but it was just a phrase. And when I said it to him and it was on the fly, I thought, that was pretty good, actually. I didn't follow up with him, unfortunately, so I don't know the outcome. But I just thought, if you were to do that, I know if it was me, like right now, I mean, me with, the whole kind of the example I give to people sometimes now is, look, I'm 45. If I happened to be on the single market tomorrow, it would be something about my balding. And it would be just like, if they say bald men are sexy, then I'm well on my way there.
Exactly.
Thing, right?
That's perfect.
Kind of
that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to, that's actually like that self-deprecation.
Yes.
Like where you pick something that's not your favorite about yourself or it's bothering you that you throw out there. I think that's great.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
And also that leads to something else where that whole kitten fishing thing, where you're not 6 feet, you're not 6 feet. You're saying you're 6 feet, but you're 5'10". That's not 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? But like, look, you've got to be authentic and you've got to be honest on your profiles, people. You have to, because when you show up in real life, if you're lucky enough to meet that person, you've already started off with a lie.
Yes.
And then what are you going to do? How do you backpedal from saying, I went on a date once and the guy was, he said on his profile he was 54. And I showed up and he was clearly not 54, like not even close. And I was like, look, I don't even want to sit here anymore because when you say you're 54, I expect a 54-year-old person to show up. And when you're 60, that's not fair because it's not, now you're deceitful and I don't know if I can trust you with everything else. Right? Even if I liked you, but if you were honest and said you were 60 and I liked you and you were honest, it would have been different,
Yeah.
It's just really important you're honest. So
it's true, right? And even, even taking it a step further, looking at people who put up profile pictures of themselves from, say, several years ago.
Oh, yeah, no.
I've seen people do this and they still do this, or they've just taken it from a general scenario and cropped the picture and their friends are there or whatever. And I'm like, come on, you can do a lot better than that.
No.
It's amazing, isn't it? Just how much a dating profile, though, has become an afterthought for people. And they don't really put any genuine creativity into it and make it something that they're proud of as well, proud to have out there.
Yeah, I think sometimes the people that don't take the initiative to work on their profile and then they come to me and they're like, dating is awful. It's horrible. I hate online dating. And then I see what's going on. I'm like, well, you know what I'm saying? It's real hard for me to say, well, of course, and also I don't think they really want to date. I think there's something else that's going on. Like maybe they're self-sabotaging or maybe they're just not ready or they're scared. Like they're scared to put themselves out there. So if they sabotage themselves by making their profile not great, then they can say dating sucks, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you are prepared and you are positive and you have a good profile, you're going to be, you've got 1 foot, you're already there, right?
Yeah. That, yeah, 100%, right? So
Yeah.
so we've talked about profile now. Let's talk about kind of the other elements, the messaging, the connecting with someone, the a more effective way of communicating with people. And what do you do if you're trying different things but you're not hearing back, and the full spectrum of things? What do you say to people who are going through this?
Okay, well, I'm very strict with I'm very strict.
I love it. Please be strict.
I'm like, listen, I am a firm believer that you do not spend a lot of time talking and texting before a date or a meet.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, you match, you text, you talk on the phone, you meet, done. And I want it quick.
Yeah.
I think the longer that you communicate with someone on an app, and the longer you communicate with someone via text, the more the chances are higher that you're going to have, it's going to be a, what's the word? What's the word for not successful? And it's going to be a bust.
Yeah.
There's a lot of miscommunication that can happen between text. People text differently. They read text differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And people are different.
In their own language, don't they? They read it in their own their own voice.
Yep. They interpret it
what the other person's saying based on what you think they're saying.
Right.
And that's not actually what's going on.
And you can't get, I don't care what anyone says, you cannot get a real read on a person. You cannot get chemistry and feel with them unless you're in person, in real life. So if you've made up this person in your head via text, and you're in love with this version of a person via text, okay, and you get in person and you meet them on their date 3 months later because you've been texting for that long. I mean, let's hope that it works, but the chances are that, you know what I'm saying, like, you just got to get to that date. So I tell my clients, I'm like, look, you match, you chit chat for a little bit, you set up at the date, you text, you have a video call, you talk on the phone, and then you meet. I'd like it to be within the first week, if not 2 weeks. Sometimes schedules are such that you can't do it. You can't get there. I don't want you talking for hours on the phone. I don't want you texting for days, long, 3-hour text chains. I mean, I have clients that were talking for like hours on end, texting, and then he never asked her out. Like guys, sometimes they don't want to ask people out, right? They just want situationships. Your chances of getting stuck in a situationship are much greater if you prolong the meet.
Definitely, 100%. And this again goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think that if you're I don't want to ageify it, but it's true though. When you reach a certain age, you just don't want to be getting into that. Get them on a date within a week, and if that doesn't happen, move on.
Younger, I agree. You have time.
Yeah, otherwise you just end up wasting your own time, and then you just set yourself up for that disappointment as well. And we just don't have time for that anymore. So I don't know who has time for that.
I don't.
Those long chat, and that's the other thing as well. Like what you mentioned, we kind of briefly touched on it earlier. Is that if you're divulging everything over Messenger, over a phone, even a phone conversation in the very early stages, you're leaving nothing to be discovered when you actually meet in person, to find out about them in the ideal way, rather than it being all just documented, and suddenly they know everything about you, and that's it. All mystery, all attraction disappears. No,
I tell people to treat it like a ooey, one of those candies with the ooey gooey center. Like let the relationship, let them get to the center. Like let someone earn that trust before you spill your guts. Like a Tootsie Roll pop, you lick it 150 times before you get to the Tootsie Roll. Like let it be slow, that slow burn, right? You don't want to tell someone your life story over text in the first 3 weeks and then meet them on a date and they're like, and then they walk away knowing every single detail about you, and they can, why would you do that, right?
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
And so then again, following on from that, we're on apps, we're messaging each other. There's so many options out there, so many different apps. What does someone do then to kind of make the most of their time, making sure that they're not making those kinds of dating mistakes? Is there anything else that people should definitely avoid doing, they should be doing, and to make the most of their online dating experience?
I would not hold on to people. A lot of people, like, especially in Bumble, when the girls have to make the first move or that kind of thing, if someone doesn't respond to you with, if you're not chatting with someone, you're not having a full conversation, block them, be done. Get rid of them, clean up your stuff. Don't go back. Like, let's say you went on a date with someone and it didn't work out, but you still have X, Y, and Z in your list of, yeah, he didn't really respond, but I'm going to reach back out to him and see what he's doing now. Why? Why? Don't get in the habit of, I'm bored, so I'm going to. Yeah. I'm bored, so I'm going to check this one out. I'm bored, so I'm going to swipe. I'm bored, or that dopamine rush, right? Or maybe if I talk to him today, maybe if I reach out today, he'll respond. No, if he didn't respond the first time, he's not responding this time. And if he wants to find you, he will. That's another thing I think we forget about these dating apps is that once you've connected with someone, pretty much they can find you, right? With Google and everything else and Instagram, and they've probably already done their research. So I know it's hard to hear. It really is. It's really hard. But if someone wants to find you, they're going to find you.
What do you say to people where they've tried to find someone, but they can't find anything about them?
Done. Done. Done.
Okay. I love that. That's what I say to people as well. They're like, that's a bit harsh. And I'm like, no.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. You can do a reverse Google search now on pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. If there is no information on a person, there's something they're done. I would just say, run for the hills.
Someone was telling me about, that was it. Yeah. So someone I know, without giving it too much information on my live podcast, they were seeing someone.
Okay.
And they kind of clocked that this person was not who they said they are.
Oh my God, that happened to me. Don't even.
Yeah. And then we did the whole thing. We tried the Google searches. We couldn't find them anywhere. But they were clearly lying about who they were. And so, and apparently it wasn't the first time, but their story, it was a case of major catfishing. Their story was very elaborate to the point where they'd even introduced this individual to their friends, or so-called friends. They'd, had a very convincing story and stuff, but then unfortunately the conversation about money started to creep up. And the questions of do you own your house and all of this kind of stuff. But luckily this person had the sense to think something is up here, and then they found out that they weren't who they said they were. They didn't work at the location they said they worked.
I wonder if it's the same guy I was dating. Happens.
No, probably not. But unless it was an Indian guy that you were dating. But no,
Israeli.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He could look Israeli. Who knows? But it was very elaborate. Like when we were talking about it, we went through it in detail. In fact, I helped her a little bit with the search as well.
So scary.
Yeah, it was quite, it was incredible how much this guy had been able to hide his profile online. Like as in the pictures, nothing else online for him, and all the rest of it, nothing there.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying. And that's the thing too. Like you really, if you feel something's off, if your gut is telling you, and this is while you're on a date, this is while you're on an app. This is if you're I don't care if you're sitting across the table from someone. If you feel like something is wrong, it usually is.
Yeah.
It usually is. So don't talk yourself out of pink flags. I tell people all the time, don't talk yourself out of a pink flag.
I love it.
A pink flag, it's like when you put all your whites in the laundry and then that red sock goes in there and then everything comes out pink. Oh, no. There's a red flag in there. That red sock turned everything pink, but there's a red flag coming. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So make sure those pink flags, they're not going back to white. They're pink for a reason because more is coming. So.
And I often say that to people as well. Like, when I really do a deep dive with people as well, when I ask them that question as well, like how early on did you see or feel this red flag?
Yeah.
And they're like, it was pretty early.
Oh,
so what made you not, what made you not pick up on it? And don't get me wrong, I think we're all only human. We're all susceptible to that.
I did it for a long time.
Yeah, we're all completely open to that. But I think that as you grow in this journey, you've got to be able to pay attention to your own instinct. If something's telling you, look, it feels a bit off, then I need to take a step back, at least at minimum, and tell someone really trusting, and let them be your conscience, let them be your guide.
I love that idea.
Yeah, because otherwise we are just susceptible. And that is part of the problem, isn't it? Because people then don't tell someone or they hide it, then they carry on down that path. And then
because they don't want them to tell them to stop it. So sometimes we want so badly for a relationship to work
Yeah.
that we've dreamt up this perfect Prince Charming image, and we don't tell our friends because then they're gonna say, "Oh my God, no, you have to stop. That's wrong," right? But then it gets further and further along, and it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Did you by any chance listen to the that series podcast, Sweet Bobby?
No, I'm scared. What is it?
Oh God, it's worth listening to. I actually, admittedly, I haven't listened to the podcast, but it was number one on Apple for a long time. But I read the article, and it was a full article. It must have been about a 5,000 word story about this lady in the UK who got catfish. I think it was for 10 years, and the individual in question happened to be her female cousin. And yes, I know, it's when you read this story and how it's one of the craziest stories you'll ever come across ever. This is why it's an amazing podcast as well. So, but it was number one on Apple for quite a long time. But if you search it, Sweet Bobby, I think it's still there to listen to.
Write it down.
Yeah, and it's just an incredible, the twists and turns it took over 10 years. It's just like, absolutely insane.
Why do people do this stuff? It's like the reason. It's just, you know what? This is the stuff that makes my clients scared to date.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and it's horrifying. But you know what? There are good people out there. Let's just end this on a high note.
Yeah, but then again, I say that's a good selling point of getting a dating coach as well. Like,
agree.
You could be scammed out of $10,000, or you could pay $2,000 to make sure you don't end up in that situation. Whatever it is, I don't know what the cost is for anyone else, right? But whatever it is, at least and the amount of money people may waste on dating, and waste on bad dating, or whatever. Yes. And you could easily save that money if you wanted to.
And you know what? Too, I wanted to say this: you can always do a background check.
Yes. Yeah.
I do them. After the thing happened with that guy with me, I ran background checks on everybody, and you can get very inexpensive ones, and you can get ones that are thorough. And I had a PI on my podcast, and you can listen to that episode. She was fantastic, and she's like, "Look, there is not a thing wrong with running a very simple background check before you, if you're going to get serious with this person. Like, if you've been on, 6 months, you're going out with them for 6 months, and you're thinking about marrying this person." There's no reason why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. So I had quite a simple rule. Obviously, look, being a guy, I could be, and I don't mean this in a sexist way, I was just a bit more relaxed about it, but I would at least Google search the person I was dating. I mean, that was just a bare minimum.
You should Google me. Watch what happens.
Oh, hang on a minute. How do you know I didn't?
My kids Googled their parent in their, when Zach was in 7th grade, I think 8th grade, my son, he was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Mrs. Whoever, but I got to Googled me." And the whole room was like, "Oh my gosh, what does your mom do? What does she do?" So sorry, baby.
Oh, bless. That's so funny. But it's true though, isn't it? Even just that, because I don't know what, again, I'm not sure about the same, equivalent laws in the US, but in the UK, we've got something called Clare's Law, but that's actually about abusive relationships. However, it could technically be applied here, especially if you, like, as a friend, if you're looking out for someone, if you think there's something up, you could always get, under Clare's Law, have a background check on someone.
Oh, that's excellent. We don't have
that. So there are things you can do. It's not specifically exactly for that purpose, but under that you probably could, as a way of checking. So but there's a number of things, right? But to be honest, but I just had a standard. If I can't see anything about you online,
done. And also, I feel like if someone's hiding, like if someone doesn't want to give you their last name, I understand the first date or this, whatever, like when but like if someone's adamant, they're like, "No, I just think that's weird too." Do you think that's weird? I think it's a little weird.
Yeah. Or at least a second date, a minimum second date. Yeah.
Yes.
And again, first date, doing it in a public space, somewhere where you're relatively safe and not, the
lighting and having an exit strategy.
Yeah, and not falling for you know what, actually, let's change plans. Come over to my place, all of that kind of stuff and everything. It does happen. It does happen.
I'm glad I don't have girls. That's all I'm just saying.
Oh,
I taught my boys. I'm like, "Boys, you better get your shit
together." Speaking of which, like, how old are they now, and what are you saying to them as well?
Oh my gosh, they're such good boys. Thank God, knock on wood. They both have girlfriends. I have a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old. One's a freshman in college.
You don't
one's
look
a senior.
old enough to have a 19-year-old, 20-year-old.
Oh, thank you. Yes, one's at Syracuse, New York now, and my senior's graduating in a month, and he's going to Syracuse next year. So I have two kids going to. I'll be all alone here.
What do you tell them about dating?
I tell them they're not allowed to look in engagement rings until they turn 35. 35 is the youngest. I'm like, don't even think about it. And I would like them to date a lot. I would like, I don't want them to even, they both have girlfriends. I'm like, okay, it's been long enough. We've been dating for a year. It's enough. Next. Moving
Yeah.
on. I think that I'd like them to have lots of, and they've also been through our divorce, and I think we did it right. I think we really did. And they always say, like, why do you guys talk so often? You're supposed to be divorced. I'm like, okay, you know what? It could be worse. So they're good kids. They're good. Knock on wood. Yeah. But
it's interesting you say that actually as well, because again, a story I heard recently from a client, an ex of theirs got married very young, was forced into it, their first love, as so to speak. And then things ended disastrously as well, because, they didn't know any different or any better. And it's so true. I think that we underestimate the power of life experience.
Absolutely.
To guide us and make better decisions.
Yeah. They're called starter marriages now. Kids that get married between 21 and 26, I think it is. They're actually called start. I'm like, oh no, we're going to wait. We're going to miss that. We're going to wait till after we're 30. I'm like,
I don't know about you, but I mean, obviously you were, right? But okay, so that was a silly thing of me to say, but just thinking back on my life. So I was 38 when I met my wife. She was 40. We got married I was 40. She was 42, right?
So smart. Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. But the thing is as well, even you say that, but actually it's true. I couldn't imagine myself even contemplating marriage.
Neither could I.
Below 35. I genuinely couldn't. Like, it
neither
really
could I.
wouldn't have been something for me.
Neither could I. I did not. I should not have. I mean, I remember walking down the aisle to the chuppah and looking at my mom, making a face like, "What am I doing? Stop this!" Like, I was like, "Please save me." I mean, I was 26 and I was like, "This is." I knew I was not. I should not have done it.
Yeah.
But woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I have two gorgeous boys, and that's okay. But like, I'm telling you, I completely understand what you're saying, because it was too young. I was too young.
Yeah. And that's just me being honest. It's not that no reflection on anyone else. I just don't think I was ready for it at all at that stage. I was, you always wanted a relationship, but there was just so many other things, other experiences, but also where I wanted to be in life, all of the rest of it, all of those ingredients. For that reason, I just couldn't have done it. Even if I had the opportunity, I don't think I would have.
Oh gosh. Well, can you talk to my kids?
I will try. I mean, I will try and put them off the best way that I possibly can.
I'm like, no. How about no? The answer is no. Don't bring another girl home. They're fabulous, and the girls are fabulous. I love them, but like, can you imagine me as a mother-in-law? No. I have to wear beige. Shut up and wear beige, Jen. Shut up and wear beige.
Goodness me, those poor girls. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right? Trust me.
We've covered quite a lot actually, but I think that if you could give everyone a bit of a summary as to some of the key things to try and enjoy the online dating experience, and how to get the most of it. I mean, we've talked about the pictures, we've talked about profiles, we've talked about the messaging. I think anything else as well, and please review any of that as well.
I think I think we covered so much, and I think the takeaway here is just enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, take a break. It's okay to take a break. There's no shame in your game. And also get help. When you're working out and you're trying to get better, more fit, you hire a coach, you hire a personal trainer. When you're dating, if you're struggling, you hire a coach. So there's no shame in hiring a coach or getting help. And also remember that it's not so much about finding the right partner. It's about being the right partner. So after you find that partner, when you do, because you will, especially if you have a coach, when you find that partner, it's important that you do work on yourself and learn how to communicate so you can keep them.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Because that journey is never ending. And I have this thing where I say to singles, do you think being single is hard? Wait till you have a real relationship.
Exactly.
Then you're going to know hardship.
Yes. Oh, yes. Because relationships take work, all of them.
They do.
Every relationship takes work. It does. So you got to do relationships right.
I don't want to paint the horrid picture for people, but no, it's just understanding. It's just not automatic. It doesn't mean just because you met someone you fell in love, everything's going to be swimmingly that way. No. It stays that way through the work, the effort you put in, the getting to know each other, the constant courting, dating, continuing, all that kind of stuff. I have to, my wife and I were talking about this. Even we got slack with the whole dating thing during lockdown and everything as well. So we kind of said, right, now we're going to reboot our dating as well. So we did our thing last month. We're going to go check out the Tate Modern, which I've never been to, actually, funny enough, living here in London. I've never been to Tate Modern, whatever, but just simple things. We're just going to do all the things that we want to do and enjoy and go see and experience. And
let me know how it goes. I want to hear.
Oh, I will do, definitely. I'm sure I'll create a nice little reel
That's
from it and
good,
stuff
good,
as well.
good.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
and
is
I mean, you have to come on my show too next season.
oh, I can. Oh,
Please.
please. I mean,
Yes, please come on my show, please. I have you on my list. You're number one.
oh, thank you. And yeah, so I guess, you know what, to round off, is there anything else that you think you want to just kind of a tidbit you want to share before you go, just to say to people, like, you know what, this is one of the key things that you need to know?
I think I just did. Did I just? I'm trying to think if there's
You
anything else.
probably did actually, but just
Yeah, just be positive, be confident. And confidence is sexy. And I don't know, just be positive in your dating, and you're going to be fine. Everybody, you're going to be fine.
you are.
You're going to be fine. Dating is not. It doesn't have to be a disaster. Doesn't have to be a disaster. That's it.
And last but not least, where can everyone reach you and connect with you if they want to?
Easy peasy. JenniferHurvitz.com is the easiest, or Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Jennifer Hurvitz, doing relationships right. That's it.
That's it. Easy enough to find you as well. By the way, are your books still available?
Yes, of course. Everywhere.
They're on Amazon?
Everywhere. Amazon, Target, Walmart, wherever.
Oh, lovely. Perfect. Yeah. Well, not that we've got Walmart. We got Asda here, not Walmart, but it's owned by the same company anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Amazon.
There you go. There you go. So you can get it in Amazon, people. But thank you so much, Jen, as well.
Honey,
obviously, we've kind of been speaking for about a year now, obviously mostly on Clubhouse, but it was lovely to finally see you face to face and
I know, right?
the podcast as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, virtual round of applause to the lovely Jennifer Hurvitz.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Such a pleasure having you on the podcast. I've enjoyed every second of this.
Me too. Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to everyone else out there, thank you for joining us on the Feel Inspired podcast. Next episode coming soon. But this one, if you're catching the tail end, you can listen to it on all the major podcast platforms in probably under 24 hours. So I'll see you then. Ciao. See ya.